The Marvels is bad. Like, really bad. Like, Suicide Squad 2016 level bad. Like, this movie should not have been released level bad. It is the worst movie in the MCU. I think it is worse than Thor the Dark World. I think it's worse than Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I think it's the worst project in the MCU. I think it's worse than She-Hulk. I think it's worse than Secret Invasion. First of all, let me talk about what isn't the problem here. One of the reasons that people have been giving for why they don't want to watch the movie is because they don't want to have to watch a bunch of Disney Plus shows in order to understand the plot. That's not a problem here. You don't have to have seen Secret Invasion. In fact, it's probably best if you don't watch Secret Invasion before you watch this movie, because Nick Fury in the Marvels is acting nothing like he acted in Secret Invasion. In Secret Invasion, he was this like guilt-ridden, old, out of his element. He's depressed. In the Marvels, he's a goddamn stand-up comedian. He's super chipper. Literally every line that comes out of his mouth is a joke. Just complete and total character change. Just not at all consistent. Miss Marvel. It's definitely the show that you would get the most out of if you watch it. And I mean, I actually really like Miss Marvel, so I recommend watching it. Although, to be fair, it does fall apart in the second half, technically. But Iman Vellani is really good in the show, and I think she carries it up until the end. Anyways, you don't have to watch it. Like, Miss Marvel and her family, they work as new characters that are just being introduced. Then you have WandaVision. You know, that's obviously where they introduced Monica Rambeau as an adult. You don't have to watch it. I mean, sure, if you come from Captain Marvel and then you watch The Marvels, you might be like, where did she get powers from? But honestly, it's kind of stupid in WandaVision the way it's introduced, because she literally just touches a force field and she's like, oh, I have powers. You don't need to watch any of the Disney Plus shows. What's also not a problem, if you're somebody that's kind of sick of like woke messaging or whatever, there's no woke messaging here. I want to be really clear about that. Because obviously anything related to the MCU, or more specifically like Brie Larson or female leads and whatnot, it ends up becoming almost a political issue because there are people that have like agendas against woke stuff and whatever. That's not even an element here. There's no like woman power, you know, like in Captain Marvel when it was all like, the men, the patriarchy, they can't keep me down. I don't need you, Jude Law. Like, there's nothing here. There's nothing like that here. I'm actually super curious to see how people like Nerdrotic or The Critical Drinker are going to talk about this movie. Like, I don't even know what example The Critical Drinker could bring up where he was like, and they're pushing the message. And I'm harping on this point because wokeness is not the problem with the MCU right now. You can have woke stuff in your movie and be good. We can criticize bad movies and bad Disney Plus shows without criticizing the wokeness within them. Because if you take out the woke stuff out of the bad projects, that doesn't make them good. If you added woke stuff into the Marvels, it doesn't make it worse. It doesn't make it better. It's all about how it's executed. And the problem with the Marvels is that it is executed horrendously. It is just the pure basics of filmmaking where this movie fails. Let's start with the performances, because I know that these actors are talented, right? I've said it before, I will say it again. And even after this movie, I will keep on saying it because I don't think it's her fault. Iman Vellani is the best casting in the MCU since Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. She is so perfect as Miss Marvel, as Kamala Khan, but this movie gave her nothing to work with. Her family in Miss Marvel are fucking delightful. Well, the Miss Marvel show has its problems, but that family dynamic is the thing that makes the show. Brie Larson, she's been good in other things. She's an Oscar a winner, actually. Yeah, she won for The Room. Teyonah Parris, she was good in WandaVision. Sam Jackson, he's Sam Jackson. Obviously, he can be good in things. But every scene in this movie feels like a reshoot where the director wasn't present. Like, the interactions with each other from scene to scene are so awkward and stilted where I don't believe that there was a director on set. But also that probably comes down to like the editing. The pacing in this movie is just off. Emotional moments aren't like built up properly, and they don't have enough time to like sit and rest with it. As far as the plot, it is probably the MCU plot that I think I've cared about the least. Malekith as a villain was more compelling than... I don't even remember the villain's name in this movie. If you strapped Martin Scorsese into a chair and peeled his eyes open and you forced him to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and the Marvels, he would be praising MODOK as the greatest antagonist in cinema history. Okay, that is how awful the villain is here. And just like weird exposition stuff, like Sean Chandler, I watched his review and he put it perfectly. It feels like this is like the third Captain Marvel movie, and there was like a Captain Marvel 2 that we just never watched. It is just a horrible script. There are like two sequences in specific that everyone's talking about. There's a musical scene that is just bizarre, like just really fucking weird. It does not work. Maybe it could work in another movie, but in this one it feels incredibly out of place. There's this like Prince character who, I don't know if he's like a famous actor or musician in like an Asian country or something. Holy shit, can he not speak English? I understand a single goddamn thing he said. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's kind of important when you're watching a movie. I should probably be able to understand what this guy's saying. And that's the thing. It's like, I can't tell if he can't act or if he just can't speak English well. There's another sequence involving the Flurkins, the little kittens. And you know what? I guess I'll just spoil it because you really shouldn't care. It takes place in like the space station in the movie, and they have to evacuate the space stations. So the kittens are eating all of the humans in order to make it easier to fit all of the kittens into an escape pod. And it's like, okay, that's a wacky idea. Maybe that could be okay. But these aren't like super intelligent kittens. They were literally just born in the movie. They just hatched out of their egg. How were you able to direct them to eat the people? I know it sounds like a nitpick, but it's like, this script is so lazily written that it's just like, you're literally just doing things. One of the things that I was actually excited about from the trailers was the whole dynamic of them switching places with one another every time they use their powers. I was genuinely excited about that. That looked like a lot of fun in the trailer. It's not utilized to its fullest extent in the movie. It's like, yeah, it happens, but it's not done in a fun or interesting way. And it's also like weirdly inconsistent. Sometimes they use their powers and it doesn't work. And I'd be willing to forget these things if they used it in creative and interesting ways, but they don't. The humor in the movie, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I got a laugh. As jokey and as ridiculous and as inconsistent with Secret Invasion that Nick Fury is, he got a decent amount of laughs out of me. As poorly directed as Kamala Khan and her family are, their charm does still shine in the movie. Like, Aman Vellani is easily the best part of the movie. She does steal it. Her family are still really charming. They definitely have their moments. Are they maybe in it a little too much? Maybe. Like, they probably didn't need to be as involved as they were. But either way, there were definitely moments where it's like, yeah, I do like these characters. And truth be told, I don't know exactly who to blame here. Because obviously my first instinct is to just say that Nia DaCosta did a really bad directing this movie. But this is on the level of like a Morbius or a Suicide Squad. And we know with the case of Suicide Squad that was a movie that was taken away by the director and just completely studio meddled with. I would not be surprised at all if Nia DaCosta just had this movie taken away from her and the Marvel content machine. This movie was probably just like stripped apart and put back together again. If you remember, this movie was supposed to come out before Secret Invasion. So maybe there were things that had to be changed because of that. I don't know. But this movie is so incompetently put together that I hesitate to say that it's because Nia DaCosta is a bad director. Considering what I said before, where each scene just feels like a reshoot, this is the Marvel machine falling apart. They are making way too many projects. Kevin Feige is just spread too thin. They're trying to make everything work together, and it just isn't the way to go when you are making a film. And I'm going to address sort of the end of this movie and the post-credits scene. So if you don't want to be spoiled further, then I guess go away. Leave me alone. I will say, I liked the ending scene. As I've said before, I love Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, and her doing the whole Nick Fury, I want to recruit you to Kate Bishop was fun. The idea of them being in a project together is exciting. And then we get to the post-credit scene. I don't care. It's multiverse bullshit. Now I know that, so is that how we're going to introduce the X-Men? It's going to be multiverse bullshit? I am just sick of the multiverse at this point. I don't care. So, listen, this movie's awful. Even, like, the most positive reviews that I've seen of the movie are people saying, well, it's not good, but I had fun with it. That's not what the MCU needs right now. I sincerely don't know how many more of these movies the MCU can take before it's just completely Jover. If the MCU continues on this trajectory, if they don't make sure that Deadpool 3 is damn good, if Captain America 4 isn't, like, amazing, if Thunderbolts doesn't come out and shock all of us, we are looking at the MCU being Jover. So, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you thought of the Marvels. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you think it's the best comic book movie since The Dark Knight. I don't know. I'm sure that person exists. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.